Welcome everybody here to our Ready, Set, Scale session. My name is Niamh Pollack. I'm Vice President of Legal at Clio, so I'm Clio's lawyer, and I have first-hand experience of working in legal departments that grow through rapid growth. So any takeaways on how to scale your business, how to scale your practice are very relevant to me. Today we're going to learn about how to gain the knowledge and the tools necessary to reach new heights in your business and how to build the foundations for limitless growth opportunities. I'm joined here by two distinguished lawyers who have expertise in this area. David Crum is an attorney, an author, an entrepreneur. He's the CEO of US Legal Groups, one of the nation's largest family firms, and Cardinal Concepts, a marketing and consulting agency for law firms leveraging the same principles and strategies that has grown his practice to 20 million. Did I say that right? 20 million? We also have Ryan Steigar, who has earned a reputation for toughness in the legal community. Ryan is a former firefighter, and he spent years battling California wildfires, so he definitely knows a thing or two about putting out fires. As an employment attorney, Ryan brings his firefighting experience to every dispute. From the initial consultation to securing a final verdict, Ryan always puts your needs first, and his fighting spirit is unmatched. Ryan is recognized as a leading voice in the field of labor and employment law. He's gained a massive following on TikTok under the handle Attorney Ryan, aka the Labor Lawyer, which I've been following, by the way. All of the Hurricane Helene content I find absolutely fascinating.
Thank you.
So check him out on TikTok. Through his videos, Ryan empowers employees and small businesses by educating them about the law and workers' rights. So some of the takeaways we're going to learn about today is building your brand, going viral, so tactics to get noticed on social media, fine-tuning your audience to convert more leads, and then taking those leads to paying customers. So I'm going to hand it over to David to kick off.
Thanks, everybody. I'm so happy to be here at ClioCon. Clio has been such a phenomenal partner for our law firms in terms of helping us to scale and our marketing company, so it's an honor to be here. I'm not psyched that we only have 30 minutes to talk about this, guys, so Ryan and I are up to the task. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to run you through what I consider to be the principles of growth. Ryan is then, I'm going to turn it over to him so we can talk about a unique way to scale. He's scaling on a massive social media scale. Then it's going to come back to me. I'm going to talk a little bit more about scaling local social media, how to integrate those leads and convert them into paying clients. So I started my practice, my first practice, when I was 26 years old. It's all I've ever done. I've never had a real job. I scaled my practices to 40 attorneys in 4 states with 8 locations. I needed to build my own marketing company in order to do that. They got so good at what they did that we turned them into a company. So they're our forward-facing marketing company that does our marketing and then the marketing for other divorce and family law firms across the US. Now, let's get into some of the principles of growth here. I want you to remember that the question is always, Dave, what if I don't want to grow? I only want a steady stream of leads, and I just want to be busy, and that's fine. If you want to be a single, solo, and never get any bigger, you can do that strategy. If you want to get any bigger than that, our saying is if you're not growing your practice, you're dying. And what I mean by that is I've worked with hundreds of law firms across the US, and I see this happen over and over and over. If you do not scale your revenue, you do not scale your services, you're going to not be able to pay your attorneys what they need to be paid, no succession plan, no additional benefits, and you're going to eventually lose talent, and you're going to end up losing your firm, which I've seen happen time and time again. So growth is an absolute must, in my opinion. The other thing to remember is growth is 90% mental and 10% mental. It's all mental. It's very rare that you're going to be in a situation where you have so many leads that you have to grow. That does happen. It doesn't last very long. It is a mindset, and you need to be able to take one step back sometimes to take a lot of steps forward. If you're going to scale your practice, you need 2 things. You need a predictive growth strategy, and you need a budget. What I mean by predictive, you need to know how many leads you need to get the clients you need to grow and what it's going to cost. Guys, digital media is extremely predictable. If your marketing company cannot tell you how many leads they can get you, what it's going to cost, and about what your conversion rate's going to be, you need to move on to another company. I can tell you that of all the leads we get, 20% of them become paid consultations, 50% of those become clients. So on a 200 leads, that's 20 new clients for us. Average case value for us is about $10,000. Okay, so let's talk about the 5 main strategies to grow. And I want you to ask yourself, is this available to me right now to grow my practice? The first one is obvious. You grow in your current practice. That's a matter of just figuring out what I talked about a minute ago. How many leads do I need? What's it gonna cost? And how much money am I gonna make from that? Just create a break-even budget analysis and start moving forward with growth. The second one, and another easy one, is to integrate a new vertical into your practice. We just did this with estate planning. By new vertical, I just mean a new practice area. Because we do divorce and family law, it makes a lot of sense for us to do estate planning as well, because we get to sell these services to our existing client at a discounted rate. We have no client acquisition costs, and it's a win-win for everyone. So with family law, we like estate planning, and of course you guys who do this area of work know there's a lot of criminal work that comes out of it. So criminal defense is another integrated vertical that helps us scale. The third strategy, here's one that's absolutely overlooked by people on a daily basis: growth by acquisition. You do not need to be Googled to buy another company. Okay, I just bought a law practice in Grand Junction, Colorado. That sounds weird, there's only 60,000 people there. But when you look at it, it draws everybody from the western slope of Colorado. So it'll support 6, 7, 8 lawyers in a town of 60,000 people. Always look for that growth by acquisition opportunity. If you have it, you can also do a practice merge, which is even easier. Obviously, new geographical offices are a way to expand. We always start inside of our own state. You're already set up, you know the market. We just went to Kansas City 2 weeks ago, and we intend to open in Topeka and Wichita. That just makes a lot of sense. But be on the lookout for micro markets. Those are those small markets where it doesn't seem like you could have an office there, but when you analyze the work there, it makes a lot of sense. We have practices in Nebraska. We see that opportunity in western Nebraska. There are just no attorneys out there. You open some small town, and you're gonna pull clients from 5, 6, 7, 8 different towns. Micro markets are an easy, non-competitive way to expand. And then of course, going to a new state, which is probably the hardest. We've done that 4 times now. It's not fun, but it can be super lucrative. And the last thing I'm gonna say before I turn it over to Ryan, I want you guys to think about how you might productize your services. And here's what I mean by that. My marketing company has developed, a couple of programs that we do for our clients. How to close phone calls, intake, how to close consults. We've turned those into products. So we give them to our clients, we sell them to other people who are not our clients. I just finished creating an information product about representing yourself in a pro se divorce. Just another way to productize your services, okay? So the lead up to Ryan is gonna be that scaling doesn't have to be traditional. It's only limited by your own creativity. So Ryan has got a very interesting strategy on how he is scaling through national social media. And I don't know if I'm not gonna say it, but his model is gonna change, I think, over time, and it's really interesting because he is basically productizing his leads that he's getting with all of these social media views. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Ryan. When he's done, I'll come back, and then we'll talk a little bit about local social media and how to integrate that into operations.
Right on. Thanks a lot, David. And gems in there, by the way. Now, quickly, I recognize that most people in here don't know who I am or how I can help you. So very briefly, yes, I'm a former California firefighter. Now I'm a workers' rights lawyer, and my practice focuses on discrimination, wrongful termination, sexual harassment, wage theft, things like that. Now, when I opened my practice, it was right out of law school. And when I did that, I didn't have any clients. I did not have a marketing background. I did have about $400, so it could have been better, could have been worse, but here's the point of that. With $400, you're not gonna get any meaningful ad spend. And it can feel like, how do I scale? How do I get started? I don't have a budget. Morgan & Morgan has a billboard within, every 5 feet of every office I go to. How do I compete? So I did what any millennial would do in that situation. I panicked and I pulled out my phone, opened Instagram, and I made a video. And I said, I'm attorney Ryan, I'm a workers' rights lawyer, call me if you need me. But I did not say it like that. And so in the couple minutes I have here, I want to teach you a couple of real strategies you can use today for no money. Because here's what happened. I didn't say, I'm attorney Ryan, I'm a workers' rights lawyer, call me if you need me. I said, here's what happens if you get fired when you're pregnant. Here's what happens if you're too hurt to work and you're scared you're going to get fired. Here's what happens if your paycheck is wrong. And I did that almost every day for about 3 years. And now, as I sit here, I have 450,000 followers on Instagram, 1.8 million on TikTok, a few 100,000 between YouTube and Facebook, and it's growing every day. And that kind of eyeballs on me jumping on people's phone screens daily if I can leads to thousands of leads every month. And I'm going to tell you how I handle that high volume at the end of this, but there's 3 things I want you to do. But how did we do that? As I mentioned, I didn't have any money, I didn't have a marketing background. I used a strategy where I call it the erase method. So if you're taking notes, you can just write erase, E-R-A-S-E. And here's what I did. Number 1, educate the viewer. People don't want to see your big fancy office and your big fancy car and how much money you make. They already think lawyers make lots of money, and it doesn't make them trust you anymore. So just educate them. Be a helpful professional that they can trust. Because when I get on people's phones and I say, here's what happens if you're wrongfully fired in an at-will state, they're not going to remember the statute. They're not going to remember what the FEHA is or the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, but they will remember one thing. That's attorney Ryan. He's a workers' rights lawyer. I'll call him if I need him. And by the way, the number is 888-CALL-RYAN. We made it pretty easy. So with each piece of content, I know it can be very intimidating. How do I compete with the big leagues? I need to really emphasize how embarrassing I was in the beginning. I've scrubbed the internet of most of it. There's a few that you can find. One of my first viral videos was me dancing to the Black Eyed Peas, and I explained how you can get unemployment even if you've been forced to quit. And it got like 250,000 hits, and I got a bunch of leads from that. So a couple of quick lessons. Number 1, leave your ego at the door. You don't have to be a great social media influencer to start. You don't even have to be an influencer. I'm certainly not. I'm just a lawyer guy who provides helpful content so people follow. But you have to start to get anywhere. And remember, the content you're making, it's not for your friends, it's not for lawyers or other professionals, it is for the clients who have a problem you can fix. So to really simplify all this, it's so easy to get caught in the metrics and production value and what software do I need. Don't worry about that. Pull out your phone and do what I do. I'm attorney Ryan, I'm a workers' rights lawyer, call me if you need me. Now, we talked about erase, and the first thing was educate your client. Number 2 is relate to them. Think about the day-to-day issues that your clients have all the time. I get so many great content ideas just from asking my clients, hey, when did you first notice that your boss was going to be a problem? When did you first get a hint that things weren't going well at work? Well, that's a video right there. I can talk about that. I got lost in my own acronym. E-R-A, educate, relate, answer common questions. There we go. I need a board to help me spell erase. Okay. All right, answer common questions. What's cool is the more you do this, your creativity, it's not like a hopper that empties and, oh, I'm out of ideas. That's not gonna happen. The comments you get as they pile up, you answer those questions. You're gonna get so many what ifs on any video you make. So E-R-A-S, show, don't tell. Don't tell people, I'm Ryan, I'm a workers' rights lawyer, I'm licensed in these states, I have all this experience. No one gives a shit about your credentials. They want to know if you can help them, and you've got 3 seconds to show them that you can. The way I do that is I break up my content into 2 big buckets. If you want, you can draw a line and write 80%, 20%. 80% is my core content, and I do a couple of things. I explain common laws. What is a right to work state really? Maybe your boss lied. Is it really legal to get fired for discussing wages? That's 80% of my content. And if I'm not sure what to do that day, I scroll Twitter and I find a news story. Which company's doing the latest layoff? I did a story about those awful situation, those employees who died in Hurricane Helene because their boss wouldn't let them go home, wouldn't let them evacuate. They thought they'd be fired. So I made a video about your right to refuse unsafe work under OSHA, and people found that useful. Again, I didn't say, I'm a workers' rights lawyer, call me if you need me, but that's what people think. This stuff is so much simpler than people make it, okay? Erase. Oh, okay. Earn trust. That's the last one. Show, don't tell, earn trust. Show that you really care. If you are too polished, this is a really good way to end it, I think. If you're trying to be perfect and you are too polished, people will not trust you because the internet is full of personal injury lawyers pulling up in their Mercedes, because it's really important you know they have a Mercedes, and they say, 3 things never to do in a car accident. No one is going to remember that person. But the personal injury lawyer who sits down and tells you a story and maybe shows some vulnerability, like, this was one of my toughest cases. I think about this case a lot, and I want you to learn something from this case. That earns trust. So remember erase, remember the 80% rule. The 20% is what I call ancillary content. That's just showing who you are as a person, your personal life. Don't be afraid to do that on your professional page. And then I've been talking a long time. It's time for me to stop. But I'm going to leave you with 3 pieces of tech that I use because I generate a lot of leads, more than my firm can handle. I use Clio Grow to capture that initial intake and manage all the leads. Clio Grow is fantastic and their customer service has been top notch. It's why I'm here. Yeah, I'll get my check after for the, okay, cool. I also use another product called Law Broker. Law Broker is really great because they gamify the intake system and your client doesn't have to type out what happened to them at work. They can click a few buttons. By reducing the friction in the very beginning, we build trust and we can kind of sort people where they need to go without gaining a lot of information. And then finally, what do I do with all those leads? I use attorney share, and I like it because I'm a small shop. I ballooned up to 10 employees at one point. It's not what I wanted. I cut it down to 5, and I really like 5. And we just pick the best, highest value cases we want. Everything else we send to attorney share, and that's mailbox money for us. So anyway, remember erase, remember 80-20. Don't try to be perfect or high value, because remember the final E of erase, earn trust. And that's my spiel.
I don't think your microphone's.
Oh, you need a...
Thanks, Ryan and David, for those incredible insights. The biggest takeaway I think I had from scrolling on TikTok and trying to educate myself about how lawyers go viral is, and it's hitting on what you've just said, is you have to be memorable. And I think the show don't tell is the perfect example of, you know, we're telling people how credentialized we were or why they should use our services, but showing the tragedy at the print factory, what I believe it was in North Carolina. I still remember that because it really resonated that this shouldn't have happened. And, you know, for victims who are seeing a lawyer who's empathizing with, you know, their misfortune, I think that's really powerful. So I think that just the memory that resonates, your lawyer has to be memorable. So we want to open up some questions to the audience, unless there's any more snippets you want to share before we go to questions.
I'm happy to do whatever, but I had a couple of slides I was going to talk about. Are they, I just cue this thing here? Hello?
Nice, you did it.
I did it. Okay, very quickly on this. So Ryan's absolutely correct. If you guys are still doing like the 3 things not to do, the most important thing, like that content is stale. Nobody's watching it anymore. They want to know much more about who you are, what you're doing, and to engage. The other piece of really interesting research is that people now, and this is super exciting, would rather buy from people than corporations. And it gives you so my wife has an online supplement company, and that's how she competes with like Walmart, because she's the face. They want to buy from a person, not from a company. Let's look at this really quickly, because this is a little different than what Ryan's doing. This is how we do social media, and I'm going to give you guys the essentials of client acquisition so you can reference this slide when you're thinking about this. If you're going to run social media, you have to have this, or I promise you it will not work. What we do is we listen to our clients. What are they talking about? 5 or 6 years ago, women would not stop talking about the fact that their husbands were narcissists. So we said, there's got to be something there. I was a psychology major. I got the DSM-5. got the 8 things that qualify you to be a narcissist, and I turn that into a proprietary video about here's how to spot it, and here's how you would actually deal with that kind of behavior inside of a divorce case. And this has been our most popular one. So if you look at the slide that's up here, these are not big numbers, but these are big numbers for us locally. So 1,500 people like this particular post, 527 comments, but more importantly, 697 shares. And for us, that's huge because these are super targeted leads. Now, let's see if I can, okay. These are the essentials though of what has to go into this. And any marketing company, if they're not talking to you about this, again, you have the wrong social media company that you're working with. Ryan will agree with me, I'm sure, that there's no better way to target people than social media. It's got the most targeting parameters of anybody out there, highly targeted. You have to create some sort of proprietary content. It does not have to be rocket science. Something like a video about narcissists, for example, would work. You have to create then a lead generation ad, which you just saw on the screen, but most importantly, you need to send this traffic to a custom landing page. I still get people who come to work with our company that send traffic to their websites. If you're doing that, you're just making a critical mistake, because a customized landing page these days with a company like Unbounce, which is who we use, very easy to set them up. It delivers the exact messaging that that person clicked on, and you can track your data. You can see how many people are looking at it, how many people it's converting. You have to take those leads and put them into a CRM. Can I see a raise of hands? Who's got a customer relation management software? Okay, so that would be Clio Grow, right? You lead these into Clio Grow, and then you do what's called nurture marketing. I like to deliver a piece of content the minute somebody signs up for something. So if they submit a consult or a case evaluation, which is how they usually come into us, I then deliver an ebook that I've written, we thank them for it, and then somebody reaches out, and then we begin to nurture them inside of Clio Grow. Got to have a good sales approach. I can't really get into that today, but your staff has to be able to convert those leads, and your attorneys, if you're a divorce firm, they should be converting 50% of their consults, at least. If they're not, there's something wrong with your consult process. And then what you simply do is you evaluate it, and then you come up with another one, and you create another one. So we're always running 4, 5, 6 of these types of campaigns, and they generate a lot of leads, and it's what I call a marketing flywheel, because once you get it going, it just keeps going until the content gets stale, okay? That's really all I have, so looks like we have some time.
If I may just quickly
Absolutely.
comment on it, I think it's fantastic, and it's important to get a CRM early on. I did not have that. Reference the $400 I had when I started. That was 3 days of food in California. I didn't get a CRM until later, and my life was a living hell until I had that CRM. And I let a lot of business go that didn't get referred or go anywhere in the beginning. So it's important to have a net to catch the fish. Speaking of, I will tell you this. Remember the final E of a race, the earn trust? If you do it right and you do it consistently enough, you're never going to lose a lead to another attorney. They don't care if Morgan & Morgan is your neighbor. They don't care who's the biggest, flashiest attorney, because they have built a relationship with you through seeing your stuff every day. And I want to emphasize one more time, please do not compare your chapter 1 to my chapter 3. I've been doing the social media game for about 3 years now. Don't look at a video and say, oh man, you know, I followed that attorney Ryan guy from the panel, and this one just isn't doing as well as his, but I tried my best. Of course it's not going to do as well the first time. I'd be shocked. That's very unlikely. But after you've done it 30, 40 times, 50 times, don't overcomplicate the videos. I believe James Clear is speaking right after this, Atomic Habits.
4:15, yeah.
If you read his book, and you really should, he emphasizes the importance of just getting 1% better every day. So often we fail to do big things like start that social media page you really wanted to because you're so worried about making it perfect. And in your hesitation, waiting for it to be perfect, it never got started. So it never even got good because it didn't exist. So I encourage everyone, just think, make it for yourself. I'm Attorney Ryan. I'm a workers' rights lawyer. Call me if you need me. Use the erase method and just pull up a story a news story in your niche and tell people your opinion on it. That's a great way to get started.
And I think also to remember, some of the trends that were shared in the Legal Trends report, which is that lawyers are not even able to answer the phone or respond to emails of customers who are looking for legal representation. So there's a completely unserved market of customers who need lawyers. So I think if you can master this technique, we can, democratize access to justice by making sure that people are served and lawyers actually have the ability to convert that demand into leads. And we want to open it up to the floor, so if there's anyone who has a question, there are some roaming mics, or you can just shout out your question and I'll repeat it. I can probably hear you, or there's someone, coming here.
Hi. I'm one of those annoying personal injury attorneys that you just talked about.
I did not mean any shade. I am so sorry.
Do you have a Mercedes or no?
I do not drive a Mercedes. So I have noticed that personal injury attorneys just give people the ick, and they kind of give me the ick too. So I get it. But personal injury content really is just kind of boring in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong. So I would love both of y'all's advice on how a personal injury attorney can really differentiate their content from other types of lawyers who maybe have a more interesting legal career, and how you can differentiate yourself or not be one of those ick personal injury lawyers.
I'm so glad you asked that.
The question is how to make your personal injury ads less boring and less ick and more memorable.
Yes.
Ick be gone.
Yeah.
Great product. All right, here's how we use Ick be gone. The average person does not understand the differentiation of niches. A lawyer is a lawyer to the average person. And what you want to do is be the lawyer they trust, who they recognize. I did a video about Hurricane Helene, that's in Tennessee. I don't practice in Tennessee, but I care about the law and I care how it affects people, and I show that. Whatever you're interested in. I do a bunch of videos about unions and strikes because people really care. I don't do union law, but every day I'm just saying, I'm a workers' rights lawyer, call me if you need me. What you can do is just any legal news you find exciting, you can do. And a fantastic example of this is Legal Eagle. If anyone here ever saw his YouTube, he'll say, here's what's going on in the Diddy lawsuit. The man does wrongful death claims. The man does mass tort and stuff. But again, the average person just knows that's a lawyer. I know him, I like him, I trust him. If I'm in an accident, I'll give him a call. I hope that helps. David?
Yeah, it helps a lot.
Yeah, again, it's the personalized content is what's really connecting with people now, and so a lot of people will follow people for the things they're saying, and I truly believe that they don't know the difference between a PI lawyer or a divorce lawyer or anybody. But that's a really tough market to break into, though, because it's just about eyeballs for a lot of those people, and that's why you're seeing it's not direct response at all, because they don't qualify the client, they qualify the case, right? So I think there is some of that stuff that's still legit, even though it's kind of gross.
I think
it works.
No,
I mean,
is.
I have a friend who has a massive practice, and it's 242 Bert. It's like Bert called Bert, and he's been doing that for 20 years.
I think that's cute.
Is his real name Bert?
That's how their marketing meetings go. What do you think? Bert called Bert. Okay, and they're done.
I think the big point here is don't try to compete with those lawyers who are already big, and don't worry about, I need to have the best personal injury content. Forget that. Just let everyone know that you're a lawyer who they like, and the rest will take care of itself. It really will.
So we have time for one or two more questions. Anyone?
Yes. Sorry, she handed me the mic, so I figured I'd stand up. I'm over here to your left.
I can't.
I just see a bright light.
Yeah, see
we
bright
just see
lights.
bright lights.
Yeah, I just wanted
Please
to-
go ahead. Yeah,
Oh, there you
okay.
are. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, hello. My name is Scott. I just wanted to, if you can unpack, because I think you said caption as leads. I think you said like the narcissist video. It's taking it directly to Clio Grow, so you're linking directly to that rather than a website. Can you kind of unpack that for me?
Yeah, no, it's not to Clio Grow. It's to a landing page builder. Like we use Unbounce. There's lead pages in another one. I don't remember the ones beyond that. What it's doing is, though, the reason you want to do that is because if someone sees an ad that says, "Are you married to a narcissist?" You just promised you're going to deliver that content. You've got to deliver the exact content that you promised. So you take them to that specific landing page where they can interact with your proprietary content. And whether, you can make the choice of whether you want to make them put their email in. That's always a good idea to capture that lead, to continue to market. Sometimes you don't do it. You just want them to watch the damn content and hopefully, contact you. So you're doing that, but then when they submit their form, it goes into ClioGrow or whatever other lead management system does that make sense? So it goes from the ad to a landing page, then it funnels into your CRM. And then that's where you nurture it. And guys, I mean nurture. Do not keep pitching people. Like, don't bug people to hire you. Offer some value, like how to avoid getting depressed in your, the 8 things you should do or not do inside of your divorce. And then just make a call to action. Don't keep asking them to hire you. It's annoying, and they'll just opt out of your email sequences. We send 8 emails over the course of time, and I guarantee you, we've had many, many people convert after the 8th email. So you have to stay in front of them. And sometimes that feels icky, but if you find a way to do it with like a value add, they don't mind.
We do 3 touches at my firm. We have that luxury because we have a lot of leads and we're so small. When you click the link in my bio, it takes you to the law broker page. It says employment problem, click here. You click that, and based on your answers, you don't have to type anything. It qualifies you as a lead. And then we ask for your email and phone number so that one of the staff can reach out to you. Law broker then sends that data to ClioGrow. And then I have an amazing intake manager. She is awesome, and her job is to go through, I've trained her on what we're looking for, and automatically she sorts. Not a qualified lead. This is one Ryan's gonna wanna look at. This looks like the kind of cases we're looking for. Everything else we send to attorney share, and then we'll just get a referral fee down the road.
Yeah, we probably have time for one last question. Does anyone else? It's hard to see with the lights here.
I see a brave soul
Yeah,
right there.
there's a question here.
I guess this, can you hear me there?
Yes, I
Yeah.
can. Hi.
This is a question for David. I guess your comment on acquiring firms in niche areas. Just wondering if you have any metrics, what you look at, tips for success, what's failed, transition with maybe purchasing a retiring lawyer practice and that kind of thing.
So, yeah, so the question is tips for niche firms, what metrics to determine success?
He's talking about acquiring firms. So, guys, I hate to break it to you, but law firms aren't worth very much money. So if you do a traditional valuation of a law firm, it's not worth much. So what you want to do is you want to go and you want to look at infrastructure, you want to look at what the market is, where are they, and what does that firm have to offer that would be beyond you greenfielding a firm. Greenfielding meaning starting it from scratch. If they have a building that's in a lease that's attractive, I like that. If they have associates that are motivated, that could be inspired by a new pay structure, because we have a unique pay structure that's based on billed and collected. We pay a hell of a lot more money to our attorneys because I don't want them stolen away from me. And then, like I said, so it's that. So it's the market, it's the infrastructure, it's the lease, and then if they have some good attorneys on the team. Otherwise, it's not worth it. So you got to be really careful to do that. I also like a practice merge where they just kind of we merge the practices together, and then we just do some sort of comp deal on the person who owns it. And usually that allows them to take advantage of our economies of scale, and then we can scale up the practice. Does that make sense?
I'm going to stay in my lane because I don't buy law practices very often. I will say, though, having opened my practice with no money, no legacy name, not really a whole lot going for me, just once you can get the clients, you've got it. So whatever law firm you're purchasing, make sure that those clients are returning. Don't just buy yourself a bunch of overhead and no way to fix that overhead problem with returning leads, because God forbid the partner that everyone knows and loves leaves, and now they're not interested in the firm anymore.
I think that's it. I think we're at time, but I want to
Thank
thank
you.
Ryan and David for all of their insight today. They'll be around for more questions if anyone
Y'all have been fun. Thank you.
A little while.
Yeah.